Welcome to Broadway Girl Bosses podcast. I'm Abby and I'm the host and creator of the podcast, and today I'm joined by the talented Emily Fredrickson.
Hey, thanks for having me, Abby.
Yeah, of course. So I found you from the Hadestown tour. I saw you guys this last time you guys were in Chicago. It was amazing. I remember we just missed you at the stage door and I got a little upset, but I'm
Oh,
happy I gotta redeem myself and talk to you here.
yeah, definitely. Stage door is so tricky sometimes.
Yeah.
People are crowding around and we don't know who wants to see who. And, often we look different out of costume too. So sometimes people don't recognize us. But we're always
Yeah,
to meet with people and always really excited about everyone's enthusiasm.
it's great. But for those who do not know you, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. I am Emily Fredrickson. I go by Freddie. I am a trombonist and a composer and arranger, and I have been on the Hadestown tour since June of 2022. Before that, I was living and working in New Orleans and on my way to being in New York whenever we're done with this tour.
Woo. So
Yeah.
you've been with Hadestown for about like a year-ish now, am I correct?
Yeah, a year ago in June, so a little over a year.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So what was your audition story like for Hadestown?
So I was in the process of getting all packed up for New York. I was living in New Orleans for a while and I was getting ready. I've wanted to live in New York my whole life and I finally decided it was time. So I started packing up all of my stuff. I was kind of flying back and forth between New York and New Orleans quite a bit. And then in the process, I was meeting different people on the scene, which was, ultimately the goal. And one of those people happened to be a bass trombonist that worked on Broadway for a really long time. And there are not a lot of female identifying trombone players on the scene, even though there are a lot more than there used to be. There just aren't that many people kind of in that spectrum yet. So when we meet people like that, I think it's really sweet that we try and take care of each other. And yeah, this person, she really looked out for me and was really enthusiastic about me joining the New York scene. And then, like about a month before I was ready to move up, she called me and she said, "Hey, there's this job coming open. I really think you're a good fit for it. I'd like to recommend you. And if you don't want to take it, that's totally fine. But just know, like, this is a person who um, he books a lot of the musicians on Broadway. He's a really lovely person, and you should get to know him. So even if you don't want this gig, just have a good conversation with him, see how it goes." So I talked with him, found out that it was the Hadestown tour. I actually had no idea what that was. And I did some research and quickly found out that it was one of the more like prolific trombone books in the history of Broadway. So I was very enthusiastic, got back to him and said, yes, absolutely, I'd love to do it. Then they sent me some songs to play. They sent me the opener, Road One. Obviously, that's a really important one for the trombone player to be able to nail. And then I think I did Way Down Hadestown and How Long. And those three songs are so different for the trombone. One is kind of like raucous and loud and really funky, and Way Down Hadestown is more of a New Orleans style, has a lot of improvisation in it. And then How Long is more like a classical style. It actually is sort of meant to emulate like a viola. I play like with the string players during that. So it was three very different styles. So I played that. And then I had another interview with the team, played some more, sent some more stuff up. And then they said, okay, great, pack your bags. We'll see you in 3 weeks. So quick turnaround, and it was amazing. I'm very, very grateful for it. But yeah, that's my audition story. For musicians, we don't get an all call or like we don't have casting agents or things like that. You just have to be recommended from somebody who's inside the scene already.
I love that. I did want to mention, I did find you from your TikTok with your What's That Sound Hadestown videos.
Oh,
Those were like
yeah.
my all-time favorite, and I'm so happy that one kind of made a comeback,
Oh,
and it
good.
just
Yeah. I'm
made
going to
me
start
really
doing them
happy.
more. Yeah.
Yay! So also according to your Instagram, you were also the Broadway standby for the trombone for Hadestown, am I correct?
Yeah, that's true. I'm one of them. There are a few people. Obviously, it's more more important to have people who are local in New York. I'm on the road with Hadestown, but yeah, I have played the show on Broadway. I played 3 times in May, and yeah, it was an amazing experience.
You actually debuted on my birthday, so that was
No
a really cool
kidding.
thing. Yeah,
A very good day.
yeah. So like, what was your experience with the Broadway debut, and like, what thoughts were like running through your head?
I was so excited. I truly, as a young kid, I did dance. I never sang, but I did grow up dancing. And a little bit, I kind of turned a hard left to trombone eventually. But I really like never imagined being on Broadway, let alone on a Broadway stage. The dreams for trombone players, the dream is like, yeah, I would love to play in a Broadway pit someday. So getting the chance to not only play on Broadway, but to be on stage and have a featured role is like beyond my wildest dreams without an exaggeration. So I was nervous, but everybody, Hadestown has done a really good job of hiring talented people, but more importantly, they hire really good people, really beautiful, sweet, kind, loving people. And I think that is true on both the touring and the Broadway company. So I felt very much at home and embraced by everybody. The story is such a beautiful story to share with people every night. So I think that brings us together in a lot of ways. So even though we're separate, we're very connected by this story. So I felt really at home. I was really excited. And I had some friends who had never gotten to see me because they're in New York. A lot of them in the audience for those 3 shows. So it felt really beautiful, and it felt like a really great way to make a debut for sure.
I love that. So like you said, it was super cool being on the stage, which
Mm-hmm.
I personally actually did not know until I saw the show.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know like the band was incorporated in the show, and
Oh,
that just made the
yeah.
experience 10 times better for me. I didn't know that because I just the way I got into Hadestown was listening to the cast recording and the
Sure.
live recording from like 2016. So I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And then I think
Yeah.
I saw like a clip on TikTok before I like on the drive to Chicago
Mm-hmm.
from I'm in southeastern Wisconsin, so
Okay.
it's like an hour long drive. But
Mm-hmm.
like I saw a clip of it and I'm like, wait, they're on the stage? And I was going with my best friend and it just made me so freaking happy.
Oh, I'm thrilled by it too. I think it takes a specific person to want to be on stage because, yeah, as musicians, what we're used to is being in the pit. So part of my interview was they said this was to make sure that I'm an animated person. And that is definitely true. I am arguably too animated. I have a lot of fun. But yeah, I think it's so much more fun. I'm going to miss it if I ever go to a different gig when I'm not on stage because it is truly so enjoyable to be up there and fully embodying the role of trombonist to be that in the music, but also what it looks like and what it sounds like. And I love all aspects of it.
Yeah, it was just a really cool experience. And like the way you guys are like incorporated in We Raised Our Cups and Our
Yeah,
Lady and Living It Up, it was just like
yeah.
one of my favorite things ever. I remember
Oh.
like being like, after I followed you on Instagram for like a month, I'm like, go Freddie! Like I was so excited. I was so
Thank
excited that I got to
you.
see you live.
Oh my God. I'm so honored, and truly I hope that a lot more musicals, I know that there's limited stage space, but I hope that a lot more musicals see the benefit of this because really, I mean, the musical in itself could not exist without the musicians and without the music backing it. And I think to like foster that more intimate relationship between the actors on stage and the music that's happening, I think we co-influence each other. There's a lot of beautiful things that happen when we're set in the same physical creative space that don't necessarily happen in other spaces. So I think it's a beautiful thing that people should look to include more in their musical creating process for sure.
One of the most beautiful things ever, I have to say. Um, but you do like basically sit there and play trombone when you're not like dancing and like having a bunch of fun.
Mm-hmm.
So you do like sit there and all that stuff, and you do
Mm-hmm.
play a lot. Trombone is like prominently featured in Hades Sound. I hear it all the time in the cast
Mm-hmm.
recording. So can you rank your top 5 favorite songs to perform each night and why?
Sure. Yeah. I always say my first favorite song is Our Lady because it is the most familiar thing for me to do. I grew up, my background is mostly in jazz trombone, heavily improvisational. The show is very improvisational, which is again another thing that's unique to Hadestown. I never expected to be improvising this much during like a Broadway type performance. Yeah, it's kind of wild that it changes so much every night. But Our Lady is really just the band. And at the beginning, we range from just like, you know, kind of keeping it chill. We try different experiments, starting kind of soft and seeing what happens. Sometimes we go out there and we're all in the mood and we just want to play weird stuff. So we just play weird stuff. But it really gets us like out of our like you know, just the after intermission slump. And I love that. So Our Lady is definitely my first one. Road One is number two, even though it sounds like, I mean, it is such a fun, exciting number. It's so hard and it's so long for me that Our Lady lets me relax a little bit more. So that's the only reason it's outranked by Our Lady. But Road One is so exciting. Getting to play the opening like musical note of this amazing story, I can't even describe the feeling. Every night it's electric. Every night I'm looking up there like, wow, he's really pointing to me. He wants me to start the show. So that feels amazing. And it really is exciting every single night. Never gets old. Two, I would say, or three rather, I would say I really love playing If It's True. The notion of it as like a starting of rebellion is really exciting to me. And then it's just this gorgeous swelling melody and the way that it's layered gradually to the point where it's like the rebellion. It's like it starts out as a small idea and then it just crescendos to this amazing, overwhelming thing where you're like, I can't be ignored anymore. It's just gorgeously written. I absolutely love doing that every night. And all of the Orpheus. Oh my gosh, same. It still does. All of the Orpheuses have made me cry in some way or another singing that beautiful song. They all have very different takes on it, and I think it's absolutely gorgeous. So that's three. Four, I love playing Road Two. I love playing the last number because it is just our happy moment. It's also been like a really hard challenge for me to play quiet and that high. It's at the almost the top end of my register, and it's at the very end of the show. So it's been really a tough challenge to get that nailed every single night. So that's been exciting for that, and it's just like this like gorgeous familiar sound that kind of resonates with like gospel music and sort of just like, you know, hope. That is, I think, the most important part about that song is there's just so much hope in it, and it gives me so much excitement. And then five, let me think. I probably would say wedding song. I don't play much in it. I just kind of like dance and play glockenspiel. But the groove on it is so amazing, and I just love the feel. It's gorgeous. It's just so much fun to play. It's also really nice to have a break from playing trombone, so I probably like it for that reason too, because it gives me a little time to rest and just have some fun with the glockenspiel instead of blasting on the trombone the whole time. But yeah, I love wedding song. It's just so funky and like really fun to play.
Love that. I could never rank my top five songs. They change. I think every other day. I think every day I listen to Hadestown, I'm like, no, that's my favorite.
Yeah,
favorite.
I agree. Probably
third,
next week it would be a different order for me.
I think, what is my current favorite? My top two right now are If It's True.
Yeah.
Well, top three. If It's True, Our Lady, and Flowers. That one made me cry.
Oh, Flowers is gorgeous. Flowers, I've been very fortunate to see a lot of Eurydice's Flowers, and my God, that is such a hard song to sing, let alone emotionally go through. I have so much respect for, I mean, every single person who does this show, because we are all put through emotional torment every single night. But Flowers, to do that alone, and to put yourself through that emotional journey every night, my heart is for every single Eurydice who's ever done that, truly.
Yeah. The only two times I cried during the show was If It's True and Flowers. I got to see Collins, If It's True, because I was there the night where he swung on at intermission.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I got to hear Antonio's Wait for Me and Colin's If It's True. So it was like the
Oh,
perfect blend. I loved
beautiful.
it.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, yeah. Just very different approaches, and they're both so gorgeous. Yeah,
Hmm.
that and Epic 3 will make me cry from time to time because oof, Persephone and Hades like finally reconciling and having a moment where they're
Hmm.
like, we could still make this work is oof, gorgeous, painful,
Yeah.
and so beautiful to watch.
It's
Yeah.
a lot of the songs break me, but like then when you hear Living It Up on Top and like Road One, you're like vibing and it's like so hard. Like, wait, is this good?
Yeah, yeah, it really is like it's really an example that it is fully okay to feel all of these emotions in one space and time. And you don't have to
Hmm.
put a limit on how much or when you feel these different things because we are truly going from giggling to like extreme sorrow to like trauma and then like sad relationship stuff and climate change that's deeply affecting everyone and then somehow finding a way to make it like, we're going to make it to the next day. We're going to try it again. Oof, that's a lot of emotions to feel in one space. And I love that it like really lets you and encourages you to feel all of those things.
Yeah, definitely. It kind of like tackles all the problems going on in the world right
Truly, yeah, yeah.
now. That's
Yeah.
why I think Hadestown is like very relevant nowadays.
Yeah, and extremely rewatchable. It's every time I feel
Definitely.
like I still catch new things, and I've done it close to 500 times, so it's
I
always
think I've seen
always
the
something.
slime tutorial close to that many.
Yep. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely. Definitely. Yeah. And
So,
every
yeah.
cast iteration does their own thing too, which I absolutely love that they give us that freedom to kind of mold to our own personalities and voices and everything.
And that is why I'm so excited to see the new tour cast.
Yeah, they are. They just got here. We are going to meet
Yay!
everybody tonight at Soundcheck.
Yay! That's actually so
Yeah.
exciting. I'm so excited for you.
Yeah, me too.
So something I wanted to ask you is what
Mhm.
is an experience you think would have never happened without Hadestown?
Wow. This one, I'll have a selfish one and then maybe a deeper one. But one is that I have been cosplayed.
You have?
I have, I
I
have,
love that.
that is just like as I am like self-proclaimed and actualized nerd, and love cosplay, big fan. I had a fan come see me. A fan and their mother came to see me. I think it was in Seattle and their mom reached out and said, well, I think my kid is going to pick trombone because they really loved your performance. And I was like, wow, I'm so honored. And then they had a birthday that year. I think they were turning 10 and their theme was Broadway icons. And they asked their mom if they could dress up like me. So
Oh
their mom
my God, I
reached out
love
and
that.
asked me for the details of my costume. And then our wardrobe, we sent them some feathers for their hat and then a little trombone
Oh,
pin because I have a little tiny trombone pin that you wouldn't really be able to see unless you're on my Instagram or if you're up close. So we sent them that to add to their costume as well, and oh my gosh, the pictures definitely they just made me immediately cry. And
no,
just
of course.
the deeper part of this is that I have had a lot of people reach out to me and say that they or their kid pick trombone because they saw me in Hadestown, and that means so much to me. I did not really see many people playing trombone, especially not anybody who looked like me. And to be able to make an impact on people, whether or not they change their mind about what trombone is, if they can just see someone like me up there doing something that maybe they haven't before, maybe they didn't think, I get a lot less of the, wow, I didn't know a girl could do that because I really don't love that. But I love the idea that I'm challenging that notion every night just by being present and doing what I love. I don't know that I would have been able to play for as many people if it wasn't for Hadestown. And that makes me just endlessly proud and deeply humbled. I feel really excited about all of the opportunities, but especially the ones that let me share something I care about with so many different people.
I love that. You're making me tear up a little.
Oh no,
Please.
I'm sorry.
You're good. No, it's happy tears. It's happy tears. I'm so
Okay,
happy for you about
good.
the whole thing.
Thank you. I am really happy too. I'm genuinely like every day I wake up and there are moments, it's always going to be hard. Being on the road is hard. Not having a home is hard. But then there are moments where I'm like, wow, do you realize what you're doing? Do you remember when you were 10? Like, oof, can you imagine telling yourself that you were going to do this? I truly cannot. So when things get tough, I remember that, and that really makes it a lot better.
Yeah, I love that. So kind of tying back into like how you sit on the side of the stage and play and then dance and then
Yeah.
play and then dance and then play. You do see basically the whole show every single night
Yeah.
so have you seen like any mishaps that have made you laugh?
Oh my God, so many. Nightly we have mishaps that make us laugh. Oh God, and a lot of them are my own doing. Absolutely. I will tell one that has something to do with directly with me, and it kind of speaks to some important things about more adequate coverage on the road. So it's going to be a funny story, but also does directly speak to some of the struggles we face out here as touring actors and musicians. So we were doing a show where unfortunately we had to cut down to less workers than we normally have. I think it was a combination of illness and injury. So we only had 3 or maybe 4 workers. We've done both ways, but we were definitely down at least 1 or 2 workers. And there's that cleanup scene in Gathering Storm where all the workers are like, oh no, storm's coming, gotta clean everything up, put all our jackets on. So we were down a person, and you really need all hands on deck for that cleanup. But they're amazing. They are superhuman. They really always, between our dance captain and our stage managers and everything, figuring out how to make these split tracks happen. I'm always amazed. But someone just didn't, there's so many things to remember, especially when we have people who are swings and cover so many tracks. Like, they're superhuman. But there was like a mishap where one of the boxes was taken, and that's a box that gets filled with a lot of props. So in a very thoughtful way, one of the people saw that there's a box next to me and was like, oh, I can fill all of the props in that box. And I'm turned around playing glockenspiel, so I see none of this happen. So I turn around to play right after a Gathering Storm. I go to grab my mute, and that little box that's next to me is all my trombone mutes, and the box has completely disappeared.
Oh no.
And I look up, and I catch eyes with the guitar player, Michi, and she looks at me and she says, they took it. She's mouthing to me, they took it, go backstage, go get your mutes. And I was like, what? And she's like, go backstage, and pointing to, I was like, I have to play in like 30 seconds. So I ran backstage, and the stage managers were already on it. I was like, my mutes, I don't have my mutes, I need them to play the next song. And they're like, we're on it, Freddie, we're on it, we're gonna have Nikki bring the box out in a second. And Nikki is our amazing props manager. So I go and I sit back down, and I'm just sitting there like, what do I do? And then, like a thief in the night, Nikki sneaks in completely unnoticed, sets the box down with all of my mutes, and it's there. And I'm like, oh my God, thank God. Because that would have been a really interesting show had I not had the mutes. That's why I do what's that sound, Hades sound, because the mutes make such a huge difference in the way the trombone sounds. So it would have been a very interesting show. But we figured it out. We made it work thanks to our very brilliant castmates, stage managers, prop managers. They really do it all. And, nobody would have known had I not shared the story. Just us.
Now people are going to know, but this is why it's good to share these stories, because it's like good to tell people how different touring and Broadway companies are with coverage and all that stuff. So it's
definitely
an important story and a funny story to tell.
Yeah,
but
it was great. Everybody
also
recovered fine.
That's good. Also, what I want to tie into it is not all superheroes wear capes.
True. We can't. We have costumes, and we have to be in black so we can blend into the stage. So yeah, Definitely. They are amazing. I'm very, very grateful for the quick thinking minds and just the extreme talent that I get to work with every single day.
I love that. So we are on to our final question. Are you
Yeah,
ready?
I'm ready. I
Um,
think so.
where can people find you and what are your social medias?
Oh, easy, easy. So I think on everything, I am at Emily, Emily F as in Frank Music, Emily F Music. I'm pretty sure that's what I am on TikTok, on Instagram. Do I use anything else? I am on Facebook, but I don't really use it. I don't really use Threads that much either, but I think I'm on there as the same thing. So everybody can find me there. My website is Emily Fredrickson, Fredrickson. If you have questions about arranging or trombone lessons or anything like that, you can reach out to me that way. And yeah, I'm fairly certain that's all the ways. I am most active on Instagram, and I do try every 2 weeks or so to go through my requests and check it out. Sometimes it can be a lot, but I always appreciate the love so much. And I will respond to you as quickly as I possibly can while trying to maintain a healthy relationship with social media. So yeah, that would be my caveat there, but I would love to hear from you. And I do try and keep up with the What's That Sound Hadestown series as much as I can on TikTok and Instagram. So we'll shortly update you with that. I have some new things to add.
Y'all better go give this girl some love.
Thank you
You
so much,
deserve, honestly,
Abby.
I love you so much. You deserve the world.
Oh,
And you're so incredibly talented. You're amazing.
oh my God, my heart. Thank you so much. I cannot
Yeah, of
wait
course.
to check out this podcast. I'm a big podcast fiend. Like anywhere I'm walking with headphones on, one would think the musician would be listening to music. I have to be still to listen to music. So if I'm walking with headphones on, it's a podcast. So you better believe I'll be tuning into this podcast.
Aw, thank you. But yeah, I'm exactly the same. I I do find podcast musicals because like I'm a big theater kid. I do
Yeah.
theater. I think I have rehearsal tonight for a show that I'm in.
Oh,
So
amazing.
I I am listening to I think I have two Macabre Mortality Services, which Belen
Yes, that's
produced.
right.
I
Check it out. That is in the
I talked
family.
I talked to her about that and I listened to it and I haven't stopped.
Oh,
Um,
amazing.
and 36 Questions. Those are my two favorites right now.
Cool. Oh my God. Awesome. Yeah. I'm adding this one to my new favorite list of podcasts. But yeah, I'm always listening to something if I'm walking somewhere. So I'm really excited to add something to my list.
Yeah, thank you so much for all the love and support you've given me.
Absolutely, Abby. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, of course. And make sure you guys tune in next week. Bye.
Awesome. That's awesome.